All right, what's going on, guys? I'm blessed to be bringing on right now one of the top players in the 2023 class and Purdue commit, Dravyn Gibbs-Lawhorn. But before we really get this interview underway, is there anything that you want to plug or anybody you want to shout out?
Not really. As most people know, I'm at Montverde Academy right now, so I kind of just want to shout out the whole Montverde Academy for giving me a chance to be here, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, definitely, man. But anyways, guess we get right into this interview, and something I'm assuming you know who Tipton Dennis is, and he gave me
Yeah,
advice actually. I did an interview with him, and in that he gave me this advice, which I think it wasn't this like life changing advice, but I'm starting to kind of go with this strategy a little bit, and I think I've been doing this even before he told me this, but I'm now trying to start off each interview with very maybe not easy questions, but more just not so serious questions, just to kind of get
right.
you warmed up a little bit, all of that. So not this might even be a little weird, but like, I noticed like you were eating something when we just got into the interview. I mean, what were you snacking on?
uh, I'm more of a hot chip guy, so I was smacking on the hot Cheetos. My camera's
Okay,
cracked, so you probably can't really see it, but hot Cheetos, and then
I see that.
sometimes I like mix my chips, so I'll put like Takis in there with it, and I'll eat Takis with the hot Cheetos and just mix it together. Kind of weird. I don't really know nobody else that does that, but that's what I like to do.
I feel bad that you weren't at City of Palms now. I don't know if they told you, but like Takis was, I don't know if the person that like ran Takis was there, but I know the liaison
Uh,
that was working with the tournament that was with Montverde. They could tell you this if she told the team. Like she also worked for like the chip company that like would work with Takis. So they were giving away like free like mini packs of Takis. And they had like,
uh,
bro, they had a Takis lollipop. Like it was like the
what? A
sweetest.
Taki lollipop?
It was like kind of sweet, and then in the bag was like just crushed up like the flavory thing they put on Takis, and you just like kind of dip it in and like lick it.
Yo, that I look you want to try that. Look, he
Yeah.
sounds very amazing. I don't know.
I didn't like it, but also like I'm the kind of guy like what I was doing when I was tired, I would go up, grab the bag of Takis, like put my mouth in the water, and I start like crying, but I'm like this giving me energy, and I just like keep like
Yeah,
eating it. But yeah, I thought the lollipop was like kind of but other people liked it though.
yeah. It sound. Man, I love Takis. It's one of my favorite. Like I have an addiction to Takis, and I had to stop eating them for a while, but I don't know. It came back to me.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm curious right now. How near's the water? I haven't seen you take a sip of water yet. I mean, how near's the water to you right now?
Oh, right here. Always got it. It's kind of frozen right now, but I got my water in my fridge, and I always keep the water nearby for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you have to drink like a lot of water when you eat that? Like the hot Cheetos, the Takis, or are you more kind of used to it where you're just
I could
chilling?
probably finish. I could probably finish a little mini bag without like having to drink any water. But as soon as I finish, I'm gonna drink like 2 or 3 water bottles after.
Hmm.
It helps keep you hydrated though. I will admit that.
That's definitely smart for sure. So that's another thing too. Like, you'll see a lot of players pregame. I think the pregame popular thing is to eat Skittles. That's like a popular thing.
Yeah.
Do you ever eat like Takis or something like that, like pregame?
No, I couldn't eat no Takis pregame. I'll get a heartburn or a stomach burn. I always gotta limit the time before I eat them and before a game. But hey, the pregame Skittles, the pregame candy, just to get that little extra sugar rush. That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Mess with that.
Yeah, for sure. Now I guess you really get into this interview. So I mean, you kind of brought it up. Like you're at Montverde now. You obviously like you weren't there. I think like a couple weeks ago. So just kind of what went into that decision and this move for you.
So before I came here, I was at Real Salt Lake Academy. We played Montverde before. Kind of got crushed, but I really wasn't like wanting to leave. And then I kind of just did deep thinking about like what type of player I want to be, like where am I gonna be at if I stay where I'm at, and I feel like I'll still be in the same like area and position I'm in, but like I want to go to the next level and like be one of the higher level guys on that level. So in order to do that, Montverde was just one of the places to come and prepare me for it.
Yeah, and I guess this is something I feel like I saw this like it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of guys that people say a lot of things with certain players where they play at like a different school every year. Like, are they like bad for the coaches? Like, are they like misbehaving, keeping needing to leave these schools? But the thing that makes going to Montverde different is like it's almost like going to Montverde. I wouldn't say it sucks. Like, it's probably very awesome, but like it's very serious. Like, it's not like you're going
Yeah,
have like a lot of fun there. Like it's business. Like if you're messing around like
No,
off the court or whatever, like you're either getting like kicked out of that school immediately, or they're about to like make sure they change that like for the rest of your
no,
life by doing something.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's either you
so
get kicked out of the school or you're kicked off the team, one or the other. Like there's no space for messing around at all.
So what would you kind of say to people that are maybe thinking like, oh, this guy Dre, I don't know if he's a really good player when he keeps going to all these different high schools. Like, what would you really say to that? Because going to Montverde, like, I guess it almost like combats that statement.
Yeah, it's my journey. It's not really their type of journey, so they can say whatever they want to say. I'm not really listening, so I know where I want to be in the future, and it's going to be further away from the people that's talking. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, and being at Montverde, and I kind of noticed this with Derek Queen. I felt like he like because I see Montverde play. I saw him play when they were down in Miami for the KT Kings Classic. Then I saw him play like at City Palms and all that stuff, and it looked like he really kind of was keep getting like a little more adjusted. Like now I feel like he's starting to
Yeah,
get a little more playing time, everything like that. Like Montverde's like it's an adjustment, like
yeah,
I think it's also an NBA ran kind of program in terms of what they do just on the basketball court. I mean off the court as well, but just in terms of playing basketball, like they do a lot of like high level stuff. So are you
yeah.
not even close to being adjusted yet since you kind of went into the games? Like I'm sure you have to learn a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like plays, and then we have a lot of plays. Like there's a ton of plays I got to learn, but I'd say I've only been here for like a month. This is my first month here, and I think I'm adjusting really well. Most people they have the challenge of like in my out of my entire lifetime, I've never been a bench warmer. Like I've never like sat the bench a full game or like played limited minutes, like only played like 4 or 5 minutes. But that's something that's like a mind barrier you have to get over if you want to go to the next level. Because Coach Boyle will for sure take you there.
Yeah. I mean, what's it like? I guess first off, maybe we'll ask about being a bench warmer, but also like there's no way you haven't messed up kind of big time in practice, like in a play or something like that, where you thought you knew and you didn't know it. I mean, what's it like kind of like messing up this stuff? Because he's such a high level athlete, then to kind of like mess some stuff up. I mean, what's that kind of like?
I mean, like everyone messes things up. Like even like because we have so many plays. Like even coach forgets a play here and there. So it's
Mhm.
not like we all help each other. Like even like we help the coaches remember the plays. I mean, now if you're just like making the same mistake over and over again, coach is gonna get on you, obviously. But there's not really room for that many mistakes. But it's normal, it's natural. Everyone's gonna make a mistake here and there. So just helping us build, or like just helping each other build up off that mistake and learning. That's kind of how it like. That's how kind of how we like just learn from it.
Yeah. And another thing too with adjusting the Montverde, I mean, like I guess you don't need a board there, but most people do. I would say at least probably on the basketball team. So it's not like you're moving, like transferring to a school across the street from your house or something like that.
Right.
Like you have to kind of pack up all your things, live in a
Yeah.
whole new environment. What was that adjustment like? In terms of your living situation?
Like when I went to school in Utah, I moved there from Indiana, so I was already kind of used to it. And so like just packing my things up and moving again, like it really wasn't nothing to me. The biggest part was just getting adjusted to the new school, getting caught up on schoolwork, getting caught up on the basketball team and the plays. That's kind of the bigger end of it that you have to get over. But I'm defeating this purpose day by day, and I will not stop until I do.
Yeah. What's the school like at Montverde? Is it like, I mean, I saw, because I was actually first, like maybe a couple of days I was looking into, I was like, what if I went to Montverde or something like
Mhm.
that? So I was trying to see what it's like. And I saw, it's a normal school too. Like people
Yeah.
go for strictly academics. So what's the school been like?
Man, it's like if you ask me, it's just like college. Like it prepares you for the next level, educational wise and like for the court. It's just like college. You got buildings on different parts of the campus. You got to walk to um, the dining hall or certain dining halls. You got to walk to practice from your school and the dorms as well. Like it's just like college for me, especially if you're a boarder. Like it's exactly what you want to be in if you want to go to the next level and be ready for college.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite class so far with school? What would you say is your least favorite class?
Um, I would say my favorite class right now is probably kinesiology. Like the
No
circles
idea
of
what that is.
I can't even explain it, but we learn about basically the movement and like what we have to improve, like to help the movement of life, like just like basic everyday needs, like brushing your teeth, doing homework, like even sitting at your desk, like making an adjustable desk for you, like that's basically what that means. And like my least favorite, um, I don't know. I probably have to say math right now. Math's usually never been my least favorite, but I gotta take another semester of geometry because when I moved from my old school my sophomore year to I moved in at the semester, so I missed out on a whole semester of geometry, and I got to take one more semester, and it's kind of bogus right now, but I'm gonna get over it.
Yeah. Well, the one though, whatever you said, kinesiology thing, that never heard of. That sounds like, I mean, my
Yeah,
school, like I go to a big public high school, but like a very nice public high school. So I think
right.
a lot of classes that a lot of other schools don't have. That's a class we don't have. That sounds really cool. But
Yeah, I've never heard of it before until I got here, but I like it a lot.
I think the math thing though, because you said like, oh, I used to I guess kind of like math or whatever. I think it's because some people are geometry people and they're either more like algebra people. So I'm assuming you're probably more
Yeah,
of like an algebra kind of
yeah,
guy.
yeah. I like
Yeah,
algebra a lot, way more than geometry. I'm not good with the shapes and stuff, man.
yeah. I'm not a big math guy either, but like I think I like algebra more. I just couldn't like just when it was like
Yeah,
see like a circle, I'm like I can never envision what they're looking at. It was too difficult.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then this now probably not a transition in terms of the atmosphere of being in Florida compared to Utah, but like it's crazy. I mean, the edits that were made of you like transferring the picture of you with like mountains in the back, and now you're in
Yeah,
Florida where that's not possible. So
exactly.
is that like I mean that must be kind of like a crazy transition too, where you used to like waking up and seeing mountains out like a football or soccer field or
Man,
a mountain now in Florida like it's just this flat.
yeah, I'll tell you what, like it's very beautiful. Like when I first moved to Utah, that was kind of the selling point. Like part of the selling point for me was the mountains. Like seeing something like that big or like just that like tall and just like I don't know. Like I've never seen anything like it in my life because I'm from Indiana. Everything's flat, corn stalks, bean fields. Like just seeing something that intimidating was just like mind blowing to me, and it was like wow, like and like just going to hike the mountains too, and like being at the top of a mountain and looking down on the city was just beautiful. Like we went a couple of my friends when I was out in Utah, we would go to the mountain and we just chill up there and watch the sunset on the city, and it was just like one of the most beautiful things ever. But like here in Florida, it's also like very different from Indiana as well. To where like you got palm trees everywhere. It's not cold. Like that's another thing I like a lot here. It's not cold. Like in Utah, it still snows and it's very cold, and it's cold in Indiana too. So I'm kind of glad to finally be in winter, but not be cold. Still being
Yeah.
able to enjoy 70-degree weather.
Yeah, I mean today was I don't know. I'm assuming might have been a little colder, like near like Montverde and like, kind of near Orlando where it is. I
Oh
mean
yeah,
today was kind of a today was a cold day over here. I mean I think it was like
yeah. It was
probably
it was
40.
pretty chilly today.
Yeah, today was a chilly day. Let's see. Right now it's like
Yeah,
okay. Right now it's 57. And then I think tomorrow it's gonna heat up a little bit. It says a low of
yeah.
59. So yeah, no.
It was
Today
pretty
was
chilly
definitely
yesterday. Today,
today. Yeah,
it was
I
pretty
feel. I
chilly.
mean I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad saying it. Like, bro, like I mean, I love being from Florida. Like, I love the weather for the most
Yeah,
part. Yeah, no, today was definitely a cold day.
man.
I was not have to wear pants and a sweatshirt all day. That kind of got
If
me.
you ask me though, I'd rather take that 40-degree weather over some 16-degree weather of ice, snow, and rain and hail and all of that other extra stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It actually, I remember it hailed here once. Like, I think it was kind of bad. Like, I remember then we had to like sweep up like all the like my whole neighborhood. There was like leaves everywhere. That was actually that bad though. But it was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, you always get a little bit of hail every
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 times during the year in Indiana. You'll get some hail, and I'm not any just regular size hail, like quarter size pieces of ice just coming out of the sky. It hurt. It
Yeah.
hurt pretty bad.
the the one thing that kind of sucks, I think, is that like in Indiana or something like that, you could have a snow day where there's like a snowstorm. I feel like
Oh
a
yeah,
snowstorm can't. The thing is, look, because in Florida, you can have like a hurt like you call it like a hurricane day where like you don't have often to have a hurricane, but a hurricane could like destroy your whole house and like kill everyone inside your house. Like
Exactly.
snowstorm, like like that's a thing. Like it's nice when we have like a hurricane like day kind of thing, and no one dies, and the storm ends up missing us, and the schools like give us school off just in case. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But man, like if that hurricane comes, like that's gotta be bad.
Exactly. And especially compared to a snow day, you get a couple inches of snow the night before, you get a 2-hour delay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get a 4-hour delay, only a half day of school. That would be real nice, or they'll just cancel it. I mean, it's not a better feeling waking up and having no practice, especially a day after a game too. It's not a better feeling.
Yeah, for sure. And then something this is what I really wanted to know, like, because again, like I've known who you are for a long time. I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't even know like what your real name was. I was kind of knew like what the kind of the words in your Instagram username, and I knew like you went to Real Salt Lake Academy, but I know that's like a soccer team. Like, what is that like related to the school? It looks like the same logo. I always wondered that.
Yeah, so it's a pro soccer team right now, and as you've seen, one of the owners or co-owners of the 76ers just kind of signed a deal over there, being a co-owner, and I'm pretty sure Dwayne Wade just signed something over there too. So they're trying to get the basketball side of it popping for real. But yeah, so that's basically what I was trying to do going over there, was get the basketball going with the national, on the national scale, and I'm sure they'll still do that. They'll still get it going over there for sure.
So I guess in conclusion, like they're big on soccer with that school. Like I wasn't like okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's
very
all.
big.
I saw that logo, and I'm like, no way. This school is a basketball team. Like this looks like just like the soccer logo. I'm like, okay.
I remember when they first made they made one of the first courts. They put the RSL logo and they put a soccer ball on it because they like that's just what they're used to. So we were like, yeah, it's supposed to be a basketball. I mean, it's a basketball court. Why would you put a soccer logo on it?
Yeah, for sure. I think did you guys have like did you guys beat someone or like get in a really close game with a good team last year or this year or something like that?
Yeah, it was last year. Last year I'm pretty sure they beat Keontae George's team last year, and then they almost beat St. Francis, they were 14th in the nation at that time.
Yeah, and you were obviously, I'm assuming, playing in those games. So I guess what were kind of those two games like? And also, would you maybe say that those games don't really compare to what you guys experienced on, I guess, yesterday when you're playing IMG in like a powerhouse battle?
Yeah. Actually, I couldn't play those games. I was out my whole sophomore year with an ankle injury, so I really couldn't play yet, and I wasn't even for sure if I was transferring to RSL then. Actually, no, I was for sure. After that tournament, I actually ended up transferring, but I couldn't play that season yet because of my ankle injury. But like seeing them compete with them teams, especially without me, and it was like, yeah, okay, we can go over here and we can make some noise for real. But no, like watching those games and like the teams we played in Utah, comparing it to IMG Academy, DeMatha, La Lumiere, Sunrise, like there's a big difference, and it's just really gonna get me right for the next level for sure.
Yeah. So I guess something else. I guess we'll do an interview with you. Like obviously, like automatically makes me a fan. Any player I interview, I'm like, like I'm gonna support this guy. However far they go. Like it's not one of my favorite players, I guess you could say. But I guess I didn't even realize that you weren't even on Real Salt Lake for I guess such a almost short period. I thought you were on the team longer than I thought. So you played on it like I guess I'm assuming 3 different high schools. The one in Indiana.
And then I went to Real Salt Lake and I came to Montverde. Yeah.
So I guess more overall, you said you were used to it going from living in a place in Utah to over at Montverde, but like traveling though, because it's not like you're even staying in state. Like Malik Renew lived in Florida, in South Florida, kind of near where I live, and then went to Montverde, still in Florida. But you've gone from the Midwest to like the Southwest to Southeast. So you've gone like in a bunch of different regions in the whole country. Like there's no way that must have been like just such a crazy process for you.
I honestly loved it. Like being able to travel around the country like that, especially at an age like this, like most kids my age can't really do unless you have a God-given ability or just like have loaded money like that. And I never really came from a family that had loaded money, but like being able to like just travel like that and just go from different region to region, it's amazing to me, honestly. And I hope like when I get older, I can travel from country to country, continent to continent.
Yeah. And we brought this up earlier in the interview, kind of how like some people, I guess, frown upon or like look down on players that have traveled to so many different high schools. They think it's like a problem with the player. I guess for you, because I mean, Indiana's like a good spot for high school basketball. Like I don't think that. I mean, like a
Yeah,
lot of players there. I guess I feel like you probably even considered going there, but like Indiana, it's a pretty decent spot for high school basketball. So just why did you end up like just keep traveling to all these different schools, or was it even maybe just the fact that you almost just enjoyed like the new change every time, and then it was just as simple as that?
yeah. It was mainly because like I wanted to be the best player possible I can be. I want to play against the best possible I can play against, just to like show people like what I'm capable of. And so like moving from Indiana to Utah, I was thinking more of like, yeah, I'm gonna get more exposure, play against better competition. And we kind of did that. Like we played against Montverde, but like we weren't prepared for it. Like we didn't play like teams like the Mather or La Lumiere
Mhm.
before that, like to prepare us for it. We played kind of like just weak Utah teams that like we shouldn't even be on the same court with. And so like just like playing like them type of teams, I didn't feel like I was getting any type of better or like getting the type of exposure I wanted to. Mainly me just like kind of falling off of my game a little bit, and that kind of hurt me and put me in a mental state like like this isn't who I want to be right now. Like I'm coming from Indiana where I would average 20 a game as a freshman against like way 5 times better competition than this, and I can barely get 20 here. Like it's just throwing me off. So I gotta go somewhere like if I'm not even gonna average 20, like at least average like 10, and like do more like with a powerful team, especially like Montverde, get
Mhm.
the notoriety and still show people what I can do at a high level against
Yeah,
good
for sure.
competition.
Definitely. So, oh man, sorry. I thought I wrote down a question, but I guess I did not. Man, I haven't had a brain fart in that minute, but I just remember what I was gonna say. So I guess basically, let's say that in Utah, that was I guess just the peak of your career. Like you didn't think or it wasn't possible for you to really get to any other higher or better level school for basketball. Then I guess that's where you probably would have just stopped. It's more like if you could have that chance to go to even higher, even better school, they're gonna take it. That's kind of what I got from what you just said.
Yeah, so if I had the chance to go back and redo it, I had Montverde recruiting me after my freshman year actually. Um, During my injury process, they had called, did a video with me. And if I could go back and redo it, I would have just came straight here. I would be it would be unbelievable how good I would have gotten within that time period. And it might have been a waste of time, but going out to Utah, like experiencing that, like it's never not a bad idea to go to other places and get the experience of
Yeah,
what's out there in the world.
yeah. And something you just touched on that I've never really asked like any players about this, and I don't know if you could share this, but like the recruitment process of like what Montverde did to get you. You said they were like talking to you, I guess it's your freshman year. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on like the college recruitment process, but like obviously players talk more about that in the high school recruitment process. Kind of how did that work
Yeah,
when getting recruited by Montverde and
you
what's
know,
that process like?
it's kind of like the same, except like getting the actual offer to come is a little less exciting than getting a college offer. But it's kind of like the same, going to visit. I didn't even actually go on a visit. Before I even made up my mind to go on a visit, I wanted to go to Utah. Actually, I took that visit out there, and I kind of made up my mind. But I didn't even go on a visit. But like you kind of go on a visit. It's kind of like a little bit of a college recruitment process. Uh, Except the fact that the offers are less exciting.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, that's basically how it was. And then Montverde called like in the middle. After it was like a month after he played him, they called for me again, and it was like that kind of like made up my mind. Like who else is he calling? Like he literally came and told my coach, "I want your best player," And like you gotta have balls to do that. And so that kind of just made me open my eyes up a lot more. Like, yeah, this is where I probably need to be then.
Hmm. And I mean, now since you're at Montverde, you've been there for a little under a month. I guess what sort of guys you think you've really built like a good connection with that you're really able to just become good friends with right from the beginning?
Like honestly, everyone has like been a genuine person, and they welcome me with open arms. Especially like me being kind of nervous coming in. Like, what if these guys like don't respect me? Like, think I'm trying to come and just take the spot right away? Like, what if they kind of just like don't accept me in with open arms? And it was the total opposite. Like especially with Sky. Like as soon as they posted the Sky, I'm pretty sure Sky was the first one to text me, and we just had an amazing conversation. And I was like, man, this is gonna be amazing. And then Dravyn reposted it, Malik, Fino, everyone just started welcoming me with open arms, and it was just it felt like a good, like it felt like it was where I needed to be. Basically, I didn't have no doubt about it.
Yeah, and this I found kind of cool. Like for me, I was someone said like pick like adjectives that you describe yourself. I would put nervous as one of my adjectives to describe myself. Like I'm always nervous, even like the smallest things.
Yeah,
I'm just a little bit nervous for everything. And you said like, oh, I was a little nervous about coming here. I mean, for a guy like you, where even though you're not the best basketball player of all time, there's always better out there.
right.
Like you are such a good basketball player. Like you really shouldn't ever be nervous when it deals with something about basketball. Just why work? I mean, you answered why, but like, I mean, just how come you were so nervous when you're a great high level basketball player and all that stuff? Like, I feel like you should have nothing to worry about when it comes down to playing basketball.
Right, like when you come to a school like Montverde and you have like more big time names, like even bigger than me. Like I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't expect when I was in 8th grade, I didn't expect my basketball career to be like this. I thought I was gonna be a mediocre high school basketball player. So kind of after my freshman year, I was like, I can take off with this thing. So like knowing people knowing people that's gonna be my teammates like Sky, Derek Whitehead, and Malik, Pino, Dylan Mitchell, like all of them type of guys, like especially Queen and Kwame too. Like and Kwame's in my class and he's ranked, so like that's people like what if he's
Yeah.
coming or trying to come here and take my spot? Like I was just kind of nervous at the fact that they didn't want me to be here. Not that I was like just gonna come here and play ball. Like I'm never nervous for. I'll never get nervous for a competition or anything like that. But it was more of the fact that, what if they don't want me to be here? Because I don't want to be where I'm not wanted.
Yeah. I it's almost more of like a social ish kind of thing in terms of like team chemistry in a way, not in terms of like you
Yeah,
playing. Well, yeah, it's
exactly.
that I have to admit that was one of like the more cooler things because again, like you don't think of basketball players to kind of get nervous about that stuff. You're gonna think like, oh, if you're a top basketball player, like everyone's gonna mess with you because one, like want to be your friend because you're gonna be famous, and also like
Right,
a basketball player, like you seem like such like an alpha on the court. Like why would they kind of be like that off the court?
right. And
Yeah.
you really never know because you have to build trust with people, and especially like coming here. I didn't know these like I did know these kids. Like I literally made up my mind in 3 days. I was transferring. I didn't talk to them before anything. I think I talked to Kwame like a day before I made the decision. Like, and he was pretty cool. Like, I was cool with Kwame before I even came to my verse. So I wasn't really worried about him. But it's like everyone else. Like, I didn't talk to no one like before I even made the decision. So it was kind of random, and they accepted me. So that's all that mattered, really.
Yeah, I have to admit though, like if you somehow knew me and you're like, oh, like I don't know, is this the move? And I'm like, definitely the move. Like the kids, like definitely top notch kids and athletes. Like I heard stories with Scott. I think Scotty Barnes would have been way worse of a player, both on and off the court, if he never went to Montverde. Just the school he was at before, great school, great coach. But some of those kids, like, because I know because Scotty Barnes, like his high school that he went to before Montverde was like 15, 20 minutes away from where I lived. Like I knew like
Uh-huh.
the kind of types of kids he was around at that school. Like not the kids I'd want to be around personally, a little more on the cocky side of things. Besides maybe the
Right.
basketball team. They were handling their stuff on the court. They could do whatever they wanted. But then going to Montverde, I heard you know, really kind of just changed like everything for him. So it's definitely
Yeah.
it is so special.
Yeah. It's a special place to be at.
Yeah. And this I'm glad I kind of scrolled through your Instagram a little bit before the interview. And if this is something that you could touch on, you brought up your injury and you said, I think it was like a day in the life or one of the videos you posted, like you said you were like depressed for like 2 or 3
Yeah.
months. I mean, again, you don't really get into that stuff with basketball players. You think it's kind of all, gumdrops and rainbows and slam dunks off the court. Like that's not what it's like. I mean, that injury process, I'm assuming, must have been very tough for you. So just how are you really able to deal with all of that?
Like when I first like it makes me want to tear up thinking about it because like when I first got told I had to get surgery and I was going to be out for 6 to 8 months, like I really didn't want to think about it because basketball has saved me from like so much else off the court. Like I come from a harder lifestyle, I say, and basketball kind of saved me from it. And so like being injured, like I was just scared, honestly, and it just made me depressed. Like I didn't have a ball, I couldn't walk, I couldn't even walk. Like, and I lived like in an apartment that you had to go up the stairs. So like going like I couldn't even use my crutches yet. I had to hop up the stairs on one leg, and like that just was all a mental barrier for me, a very hard mental barrier. And like usually when I have a mental barrier about something, I play basketball. That's what I do. Like basketball is my therapy. And so when you take away my therapy, there's so much like bad habits and things you can get into. And like I kind of stayed away from most of it. Like not going to school, like not wanting to do schoolwork is probably one of the biggest bad habits I picked up out of it. But as soon as I picked up that ball, everything was straight. Like I was back on track and everything was cool.
And I mean, just how like if I mean you really did answer the question, but I think a lot of people like love the game of basketball, but others just love it like it's fun, and then others like love it because like they need it. Like if they don't have basketball,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of what you said, I mean, who knows what could have happened if you never
Exactly.
started playing basketball. So it wasn't like having that love for the game where it's not because you love it because it's fun and you're good at it, but you love it because like
Right.
you need it.
Exactly. Basketball to me is like a drug. Like I'm addicted to it. You take away that drug, just like any other drug head, they have withdrawals, and so that's basically what basketball was for me.
Yeah. So I mean, what? Because again, you obviously weren't really able to play for a long time, and I mean, fortunately, not to get that deep, like you're still here today to kind of tell the story because depression could definitely lead to serious consequences, as we all know. So I mean, what'd you do to combat through that? Because there was a period where you weren't playing basketball, and the worst case scenario didn't happen from that little stretch of yours. So how are you really able to just get through all that?
Like it was hard for me. I really didn't even know, but it was just I did everything that I could do, like that I was able to do, like probably even more than I was supposed to. Like I went to the gym still. Like I would get up off of my scooter and stand probably when I was supposed to and just shoot free throws. Like that's kind of what set back my process a little bit. Is I kind of forced myself to come back a little bit, but it me doing that kind of saved me from what like else I could have got into. Like going like having my dad pick me up every day in the morning, going to the gym 2 or 3 times a day to lift, like even get up shots on my scooter. I was doing anything I could just to stay like away from all of the bad habits you can get into outside of basketball, especially growing up where I grew up from. There's a lot of like bad people you can get in the mix with, and like I didn't want to be around any of those people at that time. And so like I really only had like a couple friends, like a couple true friends that I hung out with every day that would keep me on track and keep me to where I wanted to be. So I hung out with them. We all went to the gym, and when I was feeling sad, they'll come pick me up, go get food at a restaurant or something, play video games, and just chill. And then if none of that worked, we just go to the gym. Worst case scenario, I'll stand up and shoot free throws.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from, because that's like the thing that we see with a lot of injured
Oh, wait, wait,
players.
wait.
Again,
One more thing. I
okay,
got
okay.
I got 2 dogs too. Man, I got 2 puppies. Them puppies probably saved my man. I love them dogs so much. They helped me a lot, honestly. Just having 2 puppies, I already had to take care of and look out after. If
Yeah,
you ever depressed, get a puppy. It's like having a child, but you can take care of it.
yeah. The one reason why, like, I wish, like, the reason because I used to be afraid of dogs. Now I'm starting to warm up to them more and more. But the one thing
Mhm.
that's like kind of held me back from like begging my mom to get us a dog is I'm not dealing with that poop. I'm not dealing. I'll deal with. I feel like I'll deal with, listen. With if a baby, I love baby. If a baby poops, like I poop too. I know it's the same poop I poop. Like
Right.
it's okay. But if it's like a dog, like that's like a different level. Like I
Yeah,
think
you don't know what the hell is in it, man. But it's just I'm not gonna. I was the same way. Like I was for the first week or a couple weeks out of the dog, I was making my mom clean up all of it. I was like, man, I'm not touching that. And she was like, you know what? You wanted these dogs. I didn't even want to get these dogs. We don't even live in a big enough house to have two big dogs like this. So you're gonna start doing it, and then it's just like having two babies. Gotta
yeah.
take care of them. You gotta feed them. You gotta pick up after them. It's just the same. So it kind of matured me on that type of level too, having two dogs.
Yeah, I mean, also, you're kind of having to deal with that when it's called like pain, but it's like, it's a little, it's almost like ripping a band-aid off. Like you just kind of just gotta do it. Kind of helps you with other
Yeah,
things you have to encounter through
and
life. I guess.
yeah, and even picking up their crap, it still kept me away from the things I needed to stay away from. So
Yeah, for sure. And someone I guess in this Montverde team that you're gonna be kind of relate to is Sky Clark. I know he went through, I guess, a long injury process. Was that something that you were really able to? I think you said you had like a long conversation with him. Is that really something that you guys kind of talked about since he's finally now returning to the court since he's been out for just such a long time?
yeah, I mean, yeah, we kind of talked. We haven't really touched too much on it. His injury was a lot worse than mine. A lot worse. Like he had a career, like could have ended his career type of
Yeah,
injury, and he fought through it. Even though my injury lasted me a year because like I really just I had to play, I had to walk, I had to stand.
mhm.
It's supposed to only be 6 to 8 months, but I literally didn't get back a year and 2 weeks from the day I had surgery. So yeah, and then I talked to Sky about like what would you do during that time, and he told me like I would get through it. He even told me like he was doing like walking and stuff when he wasn't supposed to, but look at him now. He's all healthy. He's getting back to his normal self, and he's about to start eating again.
Yeah, and I guess another thing too, again with the injuries. Wait, I know I had like a fire question, and then I guess I forgot. This is my second. No excuses. Like this is my second interview of the day in like an hour-ish span. So I might
No,
be a
you're
little.
good.
Yeah,
You're
I
good.
might be a little bit fatigued. Crap, man, I do not remember at all. So I guess we'll continue on to the next thing I
You
want to
are
talk about.
good.
Think of it. Then I'll just. Oh, bam! I remember. I knew it was a fire question. I was gonna be so mad if I forgot. Okay, so I guess I don't know. This could be a hard question, it might even be a super easy question, but with this injury process, I'm sure it definitely taught you some things. If you could go back in time and like not get injured or still same amount of injury, same amount of just keep the story the same, would you change it or would you keep it the same?
Like my whole injury process.
Yeah, like would you prefer to just never have gone injured and whatever had everything been as different, or would you ever prefer to get this injury, have to deal through with that and everything like that?
Honestly, um, like if I could go back to change it, I wouldn't want to get injured. I would have listened to or I did listen. It was honestly my doctors that kind of messed it up for me. Not my doctors, but the doctors that told me I had an ankle. It was just an ankle sprain and I rest three
Mhm,
weeks and then come back. And then after that 3 weeks, breaking my ankle, like literally.
mhm.
But like I'm glad I went through the process of the fact like it kind of matured me as a human. To like you'll never know what life's gonna throw at you. Life will knock you on your just like Rocky said, life will knock you on your knees and beat the absolute shit out of you. But it matters about how you get back up and start swinging at it again. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. Like I'm still battling my coming back process. Like I really don't think I'm the same player I was before I got injured. But coming here to Montverde, it's really helped me get back to that element for sure.
Yeah, and again, I guess no injury is like an easy injury. Like no, I guess you can't say one's way more significant than the other, but still, like in a way, like what happened to Klay Thompson too was kind of a big deal. I mean, he came back, he kind of did pretty well in his first game. I haven't been keeping too much track of him, but I'm sure he's doing just fine. And I know I did an interview with this girl basketball player, one of my first interviews I ever did. Her name was Adriana Hahn, and we were talking about his whole injury process, and she was like, he might come back even better than before. Do you feel like somehow like you got better like as a basketball player from that? I don't know how it's possible, but that's what she said, and I kind of like believe it because maybe it's like your muscles get to heal more and get a little more rest time. So do you feel like you're even better because you had that period of time where you couldn't play?
I'll tell you what. I don't think. Honestly, yes, it did. Like studying the game and like, because I'm not gonna lie. Before my injury, like I was getting blown by on defense by NAIA people. Like my defense was
Mm-hmm.
just absolutely horrible. And it still kind of needs some work, but like sitting out of the game, studying how people play, like studying different combo moves, how fast people are, and like kind of the space you need to keep to stay in front, it kind of helped my defense a lot. So like I can contain my defender now instead of just like getting like 20 balled by a weak like dude. But now like I can contain my defender and I won't like get blown by usually. And like I can contain, like I know how to contain people now. And one thing I would say that improved a lot was my bounce, because I injured my right leg and I'm a left leg jumper. So like hopping up the stairs, like I was saying, and sometimes I
Yeah.
would hop down the street on one leg to the gas station because the gas station was really like less than a block from my house. So I would really hop on one leg to the gas station and back with or like groceries sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that man that helped my bounce very tremendously.
Yeah. And now finally gonna get into a little more of the news side of things, current events. So Montverde, to my surprise, like if I had to pick, if I was like a fan of high school basketball, if it was more like an NBA kind of thing, Montverde,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be my team. I mean, I guess it's like a bandwagon kind of thing, but like I do love the whole team, the whole culture, especially seeing from a more behind the scenes perspective. Like I would consider myself a Montverde fan in a way, if that's kind of how life was. So for Montverde, things are going good, you could say, but things are going kind of bad in terms of Montverde standards. I mean, you lose to Sunrise Christian, and then you lose to IMG again since you've been there. They already had 2 more losses before that. Can you maybe just kind of touch on that, where you go to the school first time, they're known for basically never losing, and all of a sudden you have to deal with 2 losses being a part of the team. What that was like at Montverde?
Like it's very tough, like even sometimes coach says it, like losing like this, you have to deal with people saying like you guys are the worst team in 5 years that Monteverde's ever had. But I don't really think we look at it like that. Or we obviously keep it in our head, but to us it's more as like fuel for us to keep going and keep fighting through the season instead of letting it break us down mentally and physically, And right now our mind is just on getting into Geico and being able to turn this all upside down, or like turning this roller coaster to like kind of an uptrend, getting the Geico and winning that whole thing. So that way it'll be like just like Coach Boyle says, like we went from like being one of the worst team on Verde's ever had to picking it up during the season and still winning Geico
Mm-hmm.
7 out of 10 times,
Yeah.
7 out of 10 years.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not really dissecting these high school basketball games, but like I would assume that these losses are not on Coach Boyle. Like I know he's a great coach. I know the
Mm.
players and the team are good. So like if you, I mean, like what does the team really need to work on? Because losing to IMG for the second time, and again, Sunrise Christian, a team you guys kind of blew out before you came there. Like what, if you can share, like what is kind of going wrong for the Eagles? Just because I know the coaching is good, I know the players are good. Like what happens to be going wrong?
It's like it's kind of hard to say it on top. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's kind of hard just to like think of all the possible ways like why we're having this bad of a season. If you ask me, I feel like we kind of just have to focus in more and realize that there's other high level teams out there that has a roster full of D1 athletes and D1 players. I'm gonna interview right now.
Okay, well, 30 minutes to lights
I got 30 more minutes till lights out.
We'll probably be done in like 10 minutes, anyways.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. I think I'm done now.
Yeah, nah, it's all good. And then I guess with that, oh, she looks like you're frozen, but yeah, okay, you probably still hear me.
Yeah, I
So
can hear you.
again, I told you I'm a Montverde guy. If someone asks me Montverde versus anyone, I'm saying Montverde. So for Geico Nationals, I should be biased, but like, from a more high school basketball kind of media guy, like I should have my own right to getting a prediction. So I'm still gonna keep putting Montverde as my favorite team to win Geico Nationals. But again, like a lot of people probably don't think you guys are gonna win. Like, do you think that Montverde is still that top team in the country, even though you guys aren't even ranked number one?
For sure. Like we've always got to think like that. Like even during our losses that we've had, we've always had these little mistakes that like, hey, we fix these mistakes. Like we beat this team by like 10 or 15 points. Like it's not even that we're not even that good of a team. It's that we just keep making these mistakes, and we have to focus more in on the mistakes. Like I don't want to say too much about Geico because like anything can happen. But I know like we're really coming with that fire, with that power. Like it's gonna be tough to beat us.
And with you personally and your role on the team at Montverde, do you think, I wouldn't even say it's a bad thing if you never literally play a second on the court. I think it's not a bad thing if you're at Montverde, like the whole roster was loaded. But do you think your role, like maybe even at the Montverde Invitational, you're maybe gonna get some more and more playing time as you start to get more used to the program? Or is there a chance this year where you might just be kind of riding the bench this year and just getting a feel for the whole entire system?
I really can't tell. I feel like, excuse me. I feel like as the season goes on, I'll get more and more uncomfortable, and maybe my role will step up. But like, it's really like whatever the team needs right now. Like we're in a desperate spot, and so if the team needs me, then they need me. If they don't, they don't, and I'll still be a factor. Like even being on the bench with a lot of energy or dunking the ball on layup lines to pick up our energy. Like whatever we need for our team this year, and even next year as well, I'm gonna bring it. Next year, I feel like would be my year of more playing time and stuff like that. But I'm really not focused on now. I'm focused on like finding and getting whatever the team needs this year to help us.
Yeah, for sure. And now just a couple more things before we wrap up the interview. I mean, I gotta talk about. I was thinking in my head this whole time, like, do I avoid talking about your recruitment process? And then just whatever, call it a day. But I'm like, hey, I'll throw in a couple questions. So I mean, going to Purdue, big time school in Indiana. I mean, just to be Illinois and double overtime. I watched that game. Some people say the number one team in the country, like very, very high level school you're going to right now. They're going on an upward trend for college basketball. And since you're from Indiana, how was that like? Would you say it was like a no-brainer decision? I mean, you took a visit, you commit there. It's kind of your hometown team in a way. It's from your home state. But was that like a no-brainer decision for you?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it was much of a no. Like, it really wasn't a no-brainer. Like, I put some thought into it. If it was like hometown school and like I just wanted to be there because it was my hometown and we're on the uptrend, I would have committed as soon as I got the offer.
Mm-hmm.
But I put some thought into it because I had schools like UCLA, Kentucky. Like I was talking to UCLA, Kentucky, like a lot of, I'm not gonna say all of them, but like a lot of high major schools that would make you alter this decision. But really what stuck out about Purdue more than any other school was even during my injury process, not knowing if I'll come back to 100% or like be the same player I was, or even being able to still want to play basketball. They still communicated with me, they still talked to me, and they still treated me like they wanted me. And like even like I told you with Montverde, like I want to go where I'm wanted. I don't want to go where I'm not wanted. And you can tell with Purdue how they recruit me, like they want me, like this is where I'm wanted at. So that just made me open my eyes up and just made me commit.
Yeah, I definitely cannot, argue with that. You kind of answered like a whole bunch of questions that one response, so definitely made that a little bit easier on my part. But now just end the interview more on a broader, I guess, more positive note. Just what do you want your legacy to be like once you step away from the game of basketball?
I kind of want to be known for on and off the court. So even when I'm playing basketball, I want to do something in the world that's going to help build our world and help better the world for the next generation of kids. Because honestly, as we all know, like our world it's not going good right now with COVID, and I'm sure you just saw that volcano eruption in the middle of the sea. the
Yeah,
underwater volcano. Like our world is crazy right now, so I kind of just want to help do something for the further generation of our kids or of the next kid that's gonna be living in this mess.
yeah. You know, I actually, because I'm not gonna lie, like I would say I watch the news only occasionally because my parents will have
Yeah,
it on in the background. That's what I see. But I'm not like on my computer, like, going to CNN first. Like I'm more of a, I'm gonna go to ESPN, or I'm just gonna go on Twitter and whatever and
right.
I guess I feel like I almost get a lot of my news sometimes from basketball players, like retweeting stuff like that. I think the only reason why I know about the whole underwater volcano thing was because my teacher like said it in class like today for like a second. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I know what you're talking about. Like, if not, would have had no idea. Like, do you stay informed in those things, and like, if so, why, and like how much time you really invest into learning about those current events besides sports?
Like I really don't watch the news and stuff like that either. But like everything, like, and it's kind of sad that it's like this, but everything is on social media nowadays. All you gotta do is look for it, type in
Yep.
natural disasters near us, and you're gonna find it. Like I'm sure you even saw about that piece of the mountain that fell in Brazil. Did you see that?
I do not think so. It sounds kind of familiar, but that no, I know the underwater water volcano I heard of, but the mountain
When
thing
you
I
get
didn't.
a when you get a chance about just look it up about the natural disaster in Brazil. That's man, I saw that on. There's a video. I mean, I wouldn't advise anyone that's sensitive to like stuff like that, like sensitive to natural disasters and like people getting involved in it. Like I wouldn't like if you're sensitive to that type of stuff, I wouldn't recommend watching it. But it's very sad, and it just makes you think like, dang, like what can you do in the future to help prevent things like this? You
Yeah,
know. So yeah, that's something that I look forward to.
and I think it's definitely good though we get the interview on, like, I guess you could say. I mean, that's like an important thing, like for us, we're kind of the future, even if, in terms of things with natural disasters, like it's a more of like an environmental kind of thing. But even ways like there's so many different ways you could impact the world in a positive way outside of like, even kind of for you, like showing us how to play basketball. Like, you said basketball was like an escape for you, kind of brought you away from a lot of bad things. Just doing that just helps out so many people. Like there's so many different ways you could impact the world, and so many, I guess,
Exactly.
different. Yeah, it's definitely a great way to get in the interview. I just got to plug your Instagram real quick. I'll plug mine. So I don't know how to say it. It's like Rilla Draw. Is that how you would say your
Rilla
Instagram?
Dre.
Is
People,
that
my
is that that's your nickname? I'm assuming, right? Like because your first
yeah,
name and then Rilla.
Rilla
Is it
Dre.
because
I mean, I got the Rilla from like when I was little, like when they had like Jelly Fam, Unicorn Fam. I
yeah,
made like
yeah.
a Gorilla Fam, and I just stuck with it my entire life. I thought it
Mhm.
was catchy, Rilla Dre. Like everyone,
Yeah,
that's what
no,
everyone calls me
that's
now.
it's definitely tough.
Hey
Yeah.
yo, yeah, hey, there goes Rilla Dre. Everybody look, it's Rilla Dre. Like it's just catchy. I mess with it, so it's most definitely a trend. Like even if it's whack to some people, Gorilla Fam. I don't even care about Gorilla Fam. Rilla
No, I
Dre.
think
Just
I think Gorilla Fam's definitely kind of I think Gorilla, Wolf, those two, trying to think maybe like a lion kind of thing. Those are kind of pretty common, I would say. No, I
yeah.
think it's definitely tough, tough for
Plus, like
sure.
the gorilla and the lion are like my spirit animals. Not spirit animals, but like just my favorite animals in general. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Nah, definitely. Hey, it's definitely a tough Instagram. I just wasn't sure because I was trying to figure it out. Like that's what I thought it was. But then I always thought it was like a thing with just your full name. But then I just realized like, wait, there's no L's in his name, like or there is an L in your last name, but I'm like, there's
Yeah,
no
my
like,
last name.
yeah. So I'm like, oh wait, like, that just doesn't make any sense. But anyways, man, I really, really appreciate you coming on. Taking the time, letting me speak to you, especially with a player like you and at your level, with your social media following and everything. Definitely means a lot. But yeah, make sure you guys give us both a follow on Instagram. His is at Rilla Dre, and I'm at iHoopsFL. And anyways, for 2023, Montfort Academy point guard and Purdue commit Dravyn Gibbs-Lawhorn. I'm Isaac Fleischer, and this has been another iHoopsFL interview. Peace out, guys.